We have a special guest tonight because, as you know, 2 weeks from today, New York City will be voting for its next public advocate. What does the public advocate do? A lot of things. The public advocate is supposed to be the one fighting for us, actually standing for the people, actually representing what the common man and common women of this city might think of. And that's why we got our next guest, someone I consider a friend, someone I sit next to in the city council, someone I don't live next to because he's from Queens, and a wonderful part of Queens, too, by the way. Councilman EricUlrich, how are you tonight?
Joe, I think you found your second call, and you're doing great on the radio.
It's that or pizza delivery, because I am so good at both delivering the pizzas, eating the pizzas, that sort of thing. So one of the two is going to work out for me. But let's get right into it. So earlier today in the show, I spoke about Mayor de Blasio's delusional idea that he is going to run for president. I mean, do you see any scenario where this works out well for him, and more importantly, how this works out well for the people of the city?
Well, I think he's done such a terrible job as mayor. I'm almost hoping that he runs for president so he spends less time in the city. He's absentee as it is. The subways are crumbling. The NYCHA situation is a mess. On every single issue, homelessness is skyrocketing. The budget has ballooned to $92 billion of the taxpayers' money. On every measurable issue and every measurable outcome, he's done a terrible job as mayor. And now he thinks he's going to parlay that into a presidential run. It's just, but he is delusional. I think you used the right word, Joe. He's absolutely delusional. That's why it's important that we have a public advocate who's going to hold his feet to the fire and say, hey, Mayor, get back from Vermont, get back from New Hampshire, get back out of the cornfields in Iowa. We need you right here in the city to fix the problems and to do the job that you were elected to do.
It's just so tough to see what quarter of the Democratic Party is even out there, with an appetite for a Bill de Blasio mayoralty. I mean, the only objective measure is Rahm Emanuel, perhaps, and maybe New York City is doing better than Chicago. But by all the other metrics, I mean, this guy is not doing a good job, and he's not doing a good job for the outer boroughs where you and I live. I mean, what do you say to those people who are tired of looking at people who live in Manhattan and Brownstone, Brooklyn, and just they seem to be the only focus from this administration?
Well, I don't even think he focuses on them. I call them the forgotten New Yorkers, the folks that live in Brooklyn and Queens and Staten Island and the Bronx. They vote, they play by the rules, they follow the law, they pay their taxes, and the mayor doesn't seem to give a damn about them. They're, in many cases, the veterans and the senior citizens who've dedicated their entire lives to the betterment of this city and actually physically building this city. And the mayor just doesn't have the time of day for them. I don't quite understand it, to be honest with you. But I wouldn't even go so far as to say that he cares more about the folks in Manhattan or more about the folks in Brownstone, Brooklyn, because they've got their fair share of problems, too. The mayor just completely turns a deaf ear, I think, to running the day-to-day affairs of the city because he's more interested in raising his national profile, making himself appear to be the leader or the national leader of the so-called progressive movement in the Democratic Party, and he's running for president. He's made it very clear. I think he's tired of being mayor. He's tired of dealing with the issues that are important to New Yorkers, and he's going to roll the dice and see if he has a better shot of landing in the Oval Office. I just think when Americans and the rest of the country get to realize what a zero this mayor is, I think he'll abandon his presidential fantasies pretty quickly.
I think you're right. I think he spends so much time trying to be essentially this Pied Piper of progressivism, and he just must resent Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who just sort of usurped the mantle right from under his skin, without doing. I mean, this must drive him nuts. But I want to talk to you about how you're going to usurp the mantle. What is the play here? What's the strategy? Do you see a path for your victory?
We absolutely have a great shot to win this race as long as our voters make it to the polls. I think we both know, Joe, that the turnout in a February special election, again, that election is on Tuesday, February 26th, is going to be abysmally low. It's going to be probably one of the lowest turnouts in the city's history. Most people don't know there's an election, and I think the rest of the city doesn't even know what the public advocate actually does. And so I don't see a lot of enthusiasm for this race, but if there ever was an opportunity for a Republican from the outer boroughs to really mount a credible, successful campaign. This is our shot. This is our opportunity. We don't need to win with 51% of the vote. We don't even need 40% of the vote. There's no runoff. It's whoever gets the most votes wins. And there are 17 candidates on the ballot. If people like Bill de Blasio, they like the direction of the city, there are 15 other candidates to choose from. If they want someone who's going to stand up to the mayor, who's going to make sure that he's held to account and be a voice for all New Yorkers, that's why I'm running, and I'm going to be their candidate. And I think we have a great shot to win.
I think you do. I think you do too, Eric. I think you do too, and I wish you luck. Folks, you heard it here first. This is the one opportunity for you to elect a Republican citywide. The one opportunity you are going to have in your lifetime, perhaps, to elect a Republican citywide. 2 weeks from today, make sure you get out there and vote Eric Ulrich. Folks, this is Joe Borelli filling in for Kevin. See you after the break.
Balance of Nature's